What's going on, everybody? All right, it's May 27th. It is Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day for you guys over here in the U.S. It is 3:20. I've been up since about 6 booking. I'm going to do daily vlogs now, or almost daily, not absolute daily. Just kind of recapping what it is that I'm doing during the day, both on the promotion and the booking side, and when I get some new ideas. I will just put out straight up videos answering questions that you guys have. Yes, I have my mug of coffee. I've been up for a little while. I'm sorry, I actually haven't posted something since Thursday. So I was kind of out hanging out with a friend and kind of helping her out for a little bit. So I'm back in action. One thing that I was touching on today is really spider webbing the booking that I was doing. This is gonna be on the booking side of stuff. So we're heading over to Europe, and the last time we were there, we played 2 shows in Holland, in Netherlands, and now we're gonna end up playing a couple more. And really, that is just because the bands that we got a hold of that are kind of either hooking us up or some of the guys that are putting on these shows in our specific genre. It's just asking them, like, after the show's booked and everything's good, saying like, hey, so if we're gonna be down there, on this day, do you guys know of another cool promoter or venue or band that we're gonna hook up with, kind of like around? And that's really been working. But the main thing, if you guys are kind of stuck on how to do this, and I do have another video on it, but I want to do it in this one too, is really being super authentic. And super genuine. So like I always say, whether you want to tour in San Francisco or Boston or over in Germany or wherever, it's really just typing in the city, the genre, and the word Facebook into Google and seeing what comes up, and then going to those pages. And this is where you really have to be authentic. You can't just go out and be like, hey, we want to come through Austin, will you give us a show or help us set up a show? Or like, you have to think of a way you would personally want to be asked, where you would say, all right, these guys seem like pretty cool, I'll kind of like hook them up. Especially if it's something like Houston and Austin, you guys can do a direct show trade, which is an awesome way to do it, and building up. And this goes for some of you guys that are just starting out and you barely have any draw at all. They might be on the same level, and just them coming out, you kind of get a bunch of people out and maybe just kind of introduce them to that venue so that they can keep coming over, and then they do the same thing for you. It doesn't have to be big, but you don't want to lie about that. You don't want to become the band that doesn't do the same trade. So when we're talking to bands either in the West Coast of the US, because we're based in here in Philly, or like I'm doing in Germany, if they're gonna help us set up a show, they are really pulling through, and I want to acknowledge them for that, kind of like a preemptive thank you, because that's such a huge deal to help somebody out and just be like, yeah, I mean, we can help you if you come over here to Philly, but like, what are the chances? Like, so kind of really letting them know that they're doing a good job, and listening to some of their tunes. I like to mention a couple bands that I think they sound like. So anyway, so that's really what it is, singer-songwriter, Austin, Facebook, you know what I mean? Ska, New York City, Facebook, and then finding those bands. And then we've really been spidering out from there. Once we find the right promoter, if there's like kind of like a DIY promoter that we're going to use in a certain city. We're now down in Regensburg, and we've never been down there before, so that's in Eastern Bavaria. And we'll be down there. So I asked the band that helped us, and then the promoter that's putting on the show for us, do you guys know anybody else if we're gonna be down there for a day? But would be nice to get a show in the area, kind of back and forth. And that, just asking anybody who's willing to help out, even people who, kind of say like, hey man, I can't really help you out in our hometown, we're not really gonna be around on those days, or like our singer's kind of off on another tour. So it's like, that's awesome. And do you know anybody, not just in your hometown, but even around, that you guys play with? And it's a really great way to get that specific information. And it's also great to just kind of say, because it's not name dropping necessarily, like if it's just kind of saying like, oh yeah, I got your contact from this band, and we're up in the area. We want to play that. We want to play that town too. Or we'd love to play your venue. I always like to say we'd love to play your venue, or if it's a promoter, we'd love to work with you. It seems like you guys do kind of cool shit, do cool shows, and that definitely goes a long way, acknowledging what it is that they actually do, and not just a copy and paste message. But and you can mention those bands that kind of point you in those directions. If somebody asks me how we got on a certain tour, or hey man, I saw that you guys played with this band when they were in Philly and they're coming through San Francisco, do you have the manager's email? I might give it to them, but I wouldn't want them to say that I did. That can get kind of dangerous. So, but just kind of like that networking, that's just kind of how it happens. You can just kind of like spider web your way into all these gigs, and just being very, very courteous, which you should be anyway. So the next thing that I was doing is to kind of break off and take a break from that is some of the social media stuff, which it's great to go back and forth. It kind of like, it switches gears a little bit and you can get a little bit more personal. So something that I was trying today was actually doing, when I got a hold of, I put up a bunch, I did the ad and the follow thing, and I found, very, very specific. We were starting to get really specific with who we're following. If you're using a follow app, I suggest not doing it. If you're going through another app to get to Instagram, it can be very dangerous. Now, Instagram is being very, very good with kind of monitoring that thing. So what we were doing is talking about getting like super, super specific with who we're adding. Since we're doing it manually, we don't want to like waste too much time. Like, it's not just like an app generating it, which means that we want to be more careful, which just yields better results anyway. And it is more authentic. So I found, the group of people. What I usually like to do is, if it's a band, I like to go to see who actually liked their picture, but it doesn't really work. And I know I always say this, but I kind of want to always be like repeating what's working, is if it's a huge band like the Killers, don't just go to the Killers page. Definitely don't just follow their followers. You get a little bit more specific and follow the people that liked the last post that they did. Also, there's going to be some bots in there. There's going to be people that aren't looking for new music. There's going to be people that don't really care because the Killers are so big. Another good thing to do is find a Killers fan page on Instagram and be following them. And so I did a bunch of that, and then everybody, like I do, everybody that follows back, I write them a personal message and then continue the conversation and kind of keep it going. Now, one thing that I'm going to try to do is a little bit more interaction that isn't on the DM side, and it really is working. And one thing is, when we posted something this morning that a lot of people seem to be interacting with. So anyone that liked that picture, I would just go to their profile and like a couple pictures, but I wouldn't want to be too arbitrary about it. Like, I didn't want it to be spammy, but just to kind of let them know, like, hey, I'm here and I'm kind of checking your shit out too. And the other really, really good thing to do is, I go every now and then, I'll go to people who just people who literally liked one of the last posts or one of the most liked posts, and I'll go to each one of their profiles and I'll just send them a message that just says, thanks for the support, we love you, and putting their actual name, not just their username in there. That just really lets you guys know, that lets them know that once you guys get them as followers, you're not just like, cool, all right, on to the next group, all right, cool, now on to the next ones. And it really does help keep your engagement up and keep people kind of liking you, because don't forget, they're going to ultimately be falling in love with you and not really your music. That's kind of the way that this whole thing tends to work out, unless you're a death metal band or a death metal fan and a folk band, or unless it's that drastic of a difference in genre. I didn't want to call that death metal. Same thing with what we do. I don't think that we would be attracting 14-year-old Taylor Swift fans. So it's not all about you, but in a larger off of your genre, people are going to be falling in love with the personal part of you, rather than just your music. So that's what I've been working on today. Really, really great success rate. I've just been sitting around doing it. I did want to give you guys an update because I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for all the follows, and I will see you soon.